So I have horrible self-esteem and like to the point where it's probably unhealthy. Um and I'd never realized this until well really like I knew I had low self-esteem, but it wasn't apparent to me until yesterday. Well, it wasn't obvious how low it actually was until yesterday. I was talking to a friend. I don't know if she'll watch this. If she does, or if you do, I guess you'll probably know who I'm talking about. So you're pretty cool. And we were talking about I don't know, just a bunch of random stuff, and got me thinking about my self-esteem and why it's so low. And I think honestly it has to do a lot with the fact that I was Christian for most of my life. Like and then the main reason for that being that pride is one of the biggest sins, right? Like everything comes back to pride. All sins come back to pride. Where if you sin, you think you have better judgment than God or whatever. And I was taught to be humble in everything I did. So it's really hard for me to be proud of myself in something that I've created. Like even with, I don't know, music. Like if I create a song that I enjoy, I have a really hard time saying, "Oh, this is really good." I'll say, "Oh, hey, I didn't do bad this time," or I mean that goes for pretty much anything. Like I forced myself to be humble with everything and like not even be happy with what I've created. Like it to a point that if I was even remotely proud of myself, I just pushed myself down and prevented myself from being happy with what I did. That might be part of my depression. I should just like make a separate playlist involving the videos that have to do with religious trauma, like the fear of hell and this one. And anyway, that's a big problem, and I know it affects me, but I'm sure there are other people this affects. Like I can't be the only one given how many people were in my church alone. I went to an Assembly of God church. They were evangelical. It was called the Tillamook Christian Center, and I think Christian centers are like also a kind of church, but not all of them are part of Assembly of God. It's weird. It's not important. Anyway, so the Bible does teach humility a lot, and while humility can be good in certain contexts, there's a point where it's better to take pride in your actions, to be proud of yourself, to be happy with what you've done. But instead, everything is always don't rely on yourself. Think of God. God did this for you. God made you. Give everything back to God. Give everything back to the church. Give everything back to other people. Put everyone before yourself. Be humble. Don't be prideful. And like, yeah, again, to a point, there is merit in putting others above yourself and putting yourself last. But at the same time, you need to think of yourself, because I never did that personally because of the religion. Like I thought of myself. Obviously, I didn't want to just constantly be sad. I would do things that I wanted to do, even if it hurt other people, but probably far less than most other people, or than most people. But I would never put myself first, just because of the scriptures that say to be humble and to be, or to not put your. Sorry if there's really bad echo. I'm in a new room and there's like a lot more wall here. Anyway, so my point I'm trying to get across is, first of all, if you're a Christian, maybe reevaluate the whole humility thing. I think meekness is another word he used. Technically, it's a different thing. It's being like, I don't know the exact definition, but I'm sure you can infer. I have inference of it meaning like not being bold and brash, basically the opposite of bold and brash. That's what I always took it as anyway. This is the meek will inherit the earth. So after I guess the world is destroyed in fire and brimstone after Revelation, which isn't about that. That's beside the point. After the world is destroyed in fire and brimstone, then the meek will inherit the earth. So you're supposed to be meek, you're supposed to be humble, you're supposed to be... I don't remember the rest. That's not important. You're supposed to be like... put yourself last sort of thing. Which... And, like, you know, there's also the whole turn the other cheek philosophy, which is horrible, by the way. Don't turn the other cheek. If someone's beating you up, stop them from doing that. Don't just take it. Don't tell them to do it more. Don't allow them to do it more. That sets yourself up for a lot of abusive relationships. I don't remember what I was watching, but I've seen media. I've seen it multiple times, but I've seen media where, like, oh, it was an anime. That's right. I was watching Haganai, where one character slapped this little nun girl, and was like, if someone slaps you on one cheek, turn to them the other. And so then she slapped her again, and obviously it was played for laughs, but that sort of thing can easily be used by abusers. So, you know, it's a dangerous philosophy to hold. And there's also the whole walk an extra mile. So if someone asks you to do something, do extra for them, right? And, like, again, to a point, that is solid advice. You can be a good person through that. People can see you as a nice, good person. But there's a point at which always putting others before you can become dangerous. It can become, it can lower your self-esteem, clearly. Like, I've always considered myself, and I don't want to seem like I'm trying to make myself sound better than I really am, because, like, I don't consider myself good, hence the whole low self-esteem thing. Excuse me, sorry. Like, I've always considered myself below average. I've considered myself, you know, not very smart, not very talented, though I think it is fair to give myself merit in the fact that I can, you know, do something like this and share my thoughts a lot easier than some people. Like, this is something that I want to do. I want to make people happy through these videos. I want to make people more comfortable with their life and their decisions. I want to make people, personally, I became a lot happier. Sorry, I just plosive all over the place. I became a lot happier when I lost my faith, because I wasn't being held down by all these religious oppressions, for lack of a better term. And the further out I get from Christianity, specifically, the more I realize how much it actually negatively impacted my life. So I think there is merit in that, but also I don't think it's all that impressive. And, like, I want to do more with my life. Like, I want to be proud of things that I do. It's just so difficult for me to do because of my upbringing and because of the scriptures I read and because of how I wanted to be, you know, for the last decade, how I wanted to be the perfect picture of godliness and righteousness. And not like in the sense of a priest being righteous, right? But in the sense of a follower, like an apostle, or not apostle, a follower. What's the word? It doesn't matter. I don't care. You know, a follower of Christ would be righteous. So being humble, being meek, being selfless, being long-suffering, being joyful. What are the fruits of the Spirit? Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, gentleness, and self-control. I think that's it. You know, I wanted to be all those things, and, like, again, those are good things to a degree. Being loving, but not to the point where you love anyone regardless. I feel like that's an important distinction to make as well. I should do a video about love specifically. I think I can elaborate a lot on that. Don't love everyone just because the Bible says you're supposed to. There are a lot of people that don't deserve love. Let's be honest. Joy, you know, there are points where it's good to be happy, but excuse me, being only happy is dangerous. If you've seen Inside Out, you know. And then there's long suffering and self-control, kind, like, yeah, they're all good things, but I should talk about the fruits of the spirit on their own as well. There are a lot of things that I should just talk about, but if for now, if you, as a Christian or ex-Christian, don't give yourself very much worth because you were taught to be humble, I want you to realize that you probably have a lot more self-worth than you give yourself credit for. That was a mouthful of a sentence. And humility isn't all it's cracked up to be. I mean, to a point, it's nice. It's probably good, especially for other people's image of you, but give yourself some credit. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I love you all. I don't know how to end this.